Hello everybody, welcome back. This is a Tony Stark x-trans female listener. There is some trigger warnings, some swearing. There is going to be transphobic and homophobic remarks. There will be sounds of my voice cutting out or going italic, I guess. That is when listener's dead name is used, or a slur. I am not going to actually say the slurs. Although I am gay, I will not be saying any homophobic slurs on my channel. It is just going to be me saying a random word that starts with the letter. So I guess have fun with imagining what I'm saying behind the effect. I hope you enjoy. You have always been the top of everything. Top of your classes, after school activities. You were even into modelling, but there was one thing about you that could ruin it all if you chose to follow it. You weren't a boy. Not in your heart, anyway. You were stuck in this stupid male body, but you weren't one. If your father found out these feelings, who knows what he'd do. You worked for Tony in Stark Industries. Him and your dad knew each other, and he got you a pretty good job. He was the first person you came out to. He actually helped you figure it out by calling you by your preferred name and she instead of he. It helped you out a lot, and you were beyond grateful for Tony and his fiancée, Pepper. Pepper would let you borrow her makeup, and even the time you asked about a dress, she bought you it in your size. At Tony's was the only time you could be yourself. Everywhere else, you were a guy. With your dad, you were a guy. You walked around the lab. Every day you went to Tony's, you would change into more comfortable outfits. Normally a flowy yellow sundress, which you were wearing. You were finishing up the last things you had to do for the day when you heard voices in the hallway. Tony and Pepper came in. Pepper walked over to you and whispered in your ear, "Your dad is here." Your blood ran cold as you flinched back, hearing him enter. His eyes immediately went to you, looking you up and down with a confused, disgusted look on his face. Tony walked over to you and Pepper, giving you a comforting squeeze on your shoulder. He seemed to be just as confused as you were, meaning this was a surprise visit on your dad's part. "What the hell are you wearing?" You looked up at your dad, not saying anything. "You look like a Pepper grabbed your hand as you flinched, looking down at your father using that word. Tony looks at you as you look back up and speak. "It's what I wanted to wear." Dad's face twisted into one of a scowl. "What the hell would you want to wear a dress for? You're not a girl." Looking up at Tony, he gave you an encouraging nod, giving you more confidence than before. "Actually, I am." "No, you're a boy. Enough of this. Come on, we're going home." You took a step back as Tony put himself in between you and your dad. "She's not going anywhere with you." Your dad laughed at the use of she. "He's my son." Tony crossed his arms. "I don't see any sons here. I think you got the wrong kid." Tony's tone went dark and threatening as he glared at your father. Backing up, he seemed to be scared. He looked past Tony at you once again before scoffing. "Take it then. That isn't my son anymore." And there it was. You were disowned. Lowering your head, you covered it with your hands, Pepper frowning as Tony walked over to you. He stood in front of you for a second before pulling you into a hug. "You can stay with us, kid, don't worry." You smiled as Pepper put a hand on your head. patting it. "Do you want to start growing your hair out?"